Hi, my name is Jeff. I am one of the co-founders and trainers at Revival Boxing Fitness and Wellness. And I am here with Lily Beyer from Garden of Serpents. And Lily, what exactly is Garden of Serpents?
Absolutely. So Garden of Serpents is my LLC for safety consultancy. So I teach a variety of mobility, self-defense skills, practical safety tools, along with other martial arts. So I'm a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then I train in a couple other martial art techniques as well.
Well, I have a list of questions, if you don't mind me asking. We do have a self-defense women's workshop here at Revival, August 8th. And in doing that, I'd like people to get to know who Lily Beyer is. And so I have a list of questions, if you don't mind me asking.
Absolutely, I'm
Fine.
ready.
Number one question, what inspired you to teach women's self-defense, and how is your approach different than a typical martial arts class?
So I moved to Milwaukee by myself when I was 18, and I experienced a variety of what I'll describe as uncomfortable and potentially risky situations. And even though I was training jiu-jitsu at the time, I didn't feel that I was prepared with a practical skill set to be able to handle those encounters. So what I saw was a need for education within myself, and then also for others, especially for other women. So that's what really inspired me to be a part of that solution. And as far as how my program is different than other martial arts classes, a typical martial arts class will typically entail the goal of winning the fight. So what I propose versus average class is going to be how to detect, how to de-escalate, and how to defend when necessary. So giving more of a versatility of those skills, especially prioritizing mental and emotional confidence, and where that presence actually deters a lot of unwanted and unnecessary ill-intended behavior.
So in essence, then, instead of winning the fight, they're trying to avoid the fight.
Absolutely. Avoidance is number one. Well, I should frame it as awareness is really crucial.
Right.
So environmental scanning, situational awareness, and then understanding to avoid, we have to be able to present ourselves with a body language that is ready to respond without showcasing that we're trying to fight. So open palms with that de-escalation, advocating with boundaries, and then only if necessary are we utilizing physical actions of making contact with someone when they continue to cross our physical boundary.
So if you don't mind me asking, the body language. So let's just use an example. A woman's in a parking lot and somebody crosses her line. I'm not talking that boundary yet, but what is the body language, let's say in that example, that you're looking for as a woman? Because let's face it, women at night, they might go shopping, grocery shopping, and you hear quite often, from the store to the car.
Mm-hmm.
That's that line where you have to be careful,
Right?
especially at night. What would a woman look for in that case?
Absolutely. Well, especially in those transitional spaces where ill-intended people are looking for easy targets, what they're looking for in the body language that to them is the green light are things like having their senses distracted, so headphones in, or having their eyes kind of looking down, looking away, body language that's small, maybe shoulders are concaved, arms are folded or in the pockets. And then oftentimes, especially in transitional spaces, if we are carrying bags or we have belongings or other things with us and our hands are occupied. So it's not that we want to be fearful out in the world that we can't hold on to things or, we can't be occasionally distracted, but vigilance is crucial. So walking out with the example of, going to your car, I'm scanning my environment. I'm noticing who's in my space. So my head is on a swivel. My shoulders are back. I have strong, confident body language, a broad chest, good posture. So really thinking about how we grow our physique into taking up more space. And when we are comfortable putting ourselves in that mindset, that's where it really showcases. So someone who's looking for an easy target, they're going to notice the strong confidence and not want to mess with that person.
So that's good for the woman to display, right? That's that protective force that they may have without engaging. Now, if the woman is scanning the environment, what is she looking for from perhaps the assaulter?
Yeah, absolutely. So someone who's ill-intended typically is trying to come across as undetected. So they're usually going to be, maybe hiding behind something. Maybe they're scanning for a while as far as, watching the behavior, really making eye contact. So I'll just put myself in the example. If I'm walking to my car and I'm noticing someone who is maybe looking around cars, they don't have a purpose. So they don't fit within the scenario. And I think that's a crucial part, that in our everyday life, we notice how people walk with a purpose. They're going to their car, they're going into a store. Someone lingering, not that it's always malicious behavior, but that's what I'm noticing first. What doesn't fit in my environment?
Right. That's a great point. Now, and I'm sorry if I'm going into this in layers here, but I always think of this like for my wife or my daughter, is when they're leaving a store and they're going to their car, I've mentioned, look at the car next to you. If there's somebody in there. Maybe a little paranoia mindset there, but is that part of the scanning process too, that a woman could take notice to? Is there someone parked to them? And do you get in your car faster? Or what is it that you would offer to them as counsel if they were a little nervous about that situation?
Absolutely. So let's look at that example. The first part of the mindset of present versus paranoid. So presence of noticing what's in your space, right? When we notice somebody else is near us, especially close to when we're in transition, close to our vehicle, close to a building we're going in, close to our home, that first response of slowing down that immediate action. So I notice, I scan, and in times where you are feeling more apprehensive and that intuition is picking up, that's where you take space. So that's where maybe I'm going back into the store and I'm telling the security guard, like, hey, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable going to my car. Will you walk with me, right? I'm going to get to other resources. So if ever at that time where, in the example, someone's in the car next to you and I notice it, yes, getting into my car, quickly if I'm not feeling as apprehensive about it, but just again, there's someone there. So me needing to remove myself, I'm going to get in, I'm going to lock the doors, and I'm immediately going to drive away. Let's say you're in a place where, you need your GPS or, you want to play your music. Move yourself to a safer space where you don't have immediate interception by other
Right.
people that you don't know before you're going to do those things.
Right.
So having a purpose and having a plan and practicing that.
This is all great information, by the way, Lily. And I think one of the things that a lot of people do is, you brought up the example of going to get security to walk you to the car. And you play the mind game in your head of, maybe I'm being ridiculous. And then they move forward and it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
But to be that cautious and that observant of your surrounding, the best move is to go get that security guard if you have that intuitive thought of doubt. Mm-hmm. And that's something I appreciate you saying, because I think the mind game takes place and they're like, no, I'm being paranoid.
Well, and so often people think, am I being an inconvenience
Right.
by bringing in someone else? And here's the crucial part, especially when it comes to safety, is that bystander intervention is so important. So whether we're feeling uncomfortable and we ourselves are drawing attention to the encounter of saying, hey, I don't know you, back up, leave me alone, all that de-escalative language, but really getting yourself to being in a space that has resources available. So often stores and other interactions have security guards or someone in charge, just to have another person be aware of the situation when it's available, being in that habit and reminding yourselves, I'm worthy of feeling safe. And there's people out in this world that their job is to protect us, but I'm not necessarily relying on someone else to intervene, but I am taking proactive steps when they are available.
That's great. Great information. Okay, next question. Many women feel they will freeze in a dangerous situation. Can someone with absolutely no experience learn something from your workshop that would apply in these danger situations?
Yes, because that freeze response is a biological reflex. It's something that we can train. So the biggest part to it is, one, understanding that when you're learning safety skills, being in a trauma-informed environment means that the instructor is aware that people have all different experiences. It's often very uncomfortable to have those conversations talked about, or even putting ourselves in a body language that's ready to respond.
Right.
So a big part of creating a calming environment first. And then understanding when we are training the body to get out of the freeze response, when we talk about nervous system regulation, I actually teach modalities to help be in a practice of that.
Oh,
So
that's good.
when we think about breath work, when we think about tools that we can have with us, like even just water, of just, being able to take a sip, something to cool us down, something that slows down that immediate emotional response. And in understanding that, we can train a new survival technique, which is our posture position. So to posture is just to make yourself big and be in a structured stance that's ready to respond. And what we teach is with the open arms and the open palms to protect your vital organs and to show that readiness without it coming across as an escalation of, I'm ready to fight you.
Right.
So that really deters a lot of that unwanted attention and is that first proactive step. And again, for those that are feeling that freeze and that initiative of, I don't know what to do, we train to be in that muscle memory of, let me widen my stance, let me put my arms up.
Right. Now, with all of you, with all of what you said, I'm curious, and this is not in my list of questions, but I'm curious as, do you lend a lot of this knowledge base to your martial arts career? Or is this something that you learned outside of that martial arts circle? I'm curious because a lot of the language that you're using, yeah, it resonates in the martial arts world, but a lot of what you're talking about also, I don't remember being taught in the martial arts scene. So was there extra curriculum that you went through for this?
Yes. So I've gone through several formal trainings for self-defense specifically and self-defense specifically for women, along with trauma-informed coaching. So it's kind of an accumulation of what I've learned from other experts and being able to tailor it to something that is a little bit more representative of how I want to present safety to make it accessible for everyone.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Third question. I like this question. What's the biggest misconception women have about self-defense?
I believe the biggest misconception really comes down to mindset and limiting beliefs, thinking that self-defense is sometimes aggressive or intense. It has to be done in an environment that, is forcing hardships and forcing that stress response. Sometimes that self-defense is only for people with certain athleticism abilities, with the athletic abilities, and thinking about, oh, well, I don't do certain things for exercise, so I'm not going to be able to do self-defense. And what I really want to frame around those limiting beliefs is that when we change that mindset to, it's our fundamental right to feel safe. And it's something that we have so much choice and control over. So exposing yourself to the idea that self-defense is more than just physical movements. It's how we advocate for ourselves. It's how we create little habits in our everyday life that helps keep us out of those, uncomfortable situations.
Right. Very good. If someone attends this workshop, August 8th, by the way, here at Revival, what are the 3 skills they can take away and apply immediately?
So the foundation that I create with my business is around keeping safety simple. So I have 3 words for the mental aspect, and they collaborate really well with the 3 words that we use for our physical techniques. So mentality-wise, we think about vigilance, preparation, and resilience. For the physical movements, we think about face, base, and space. So with those corresponding words, talking about vigilance and facing. So environmentally scanning, being situationally aware, and how to face our fears, facing the discomfort. So actually acknowledging what is in our vicinity. And then we think about with the preparation, so those little habits, the nervous system regulation, being in a postured position with our base, so how we structure our stance to be in a strong position, so when someone does come near us, they know that we're ready to respond. And then finally, with that resilience aspect and space, is thinking about when we are learning distance management, we want so much space that we can get out and away. But occasionally there's encounters that we can't avoid or we don't have that option. So knowing that we actually take up space, and only once someone has crossed our verbal boundary, right, and they're showing that they have ill intentions, that by taking up space, we have the ability to manipulate somebody else's movements. This is a really common fundamental with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Right.
So around that is then being able to put ourselves in the mindset that it's going to be uncomfortable to touch somebody else, especially when it's something that we don't do on the
Right.
regular. So as we build in these techniques, we are working and growing through that resilience and understanding that if I can't be all the way out and have so much space to get away, I have to go in and take up that space.
Okay, so with August 8th being the workshop, if you, Lily, could look into the camera, because this is what will be going out to our audience. If there is something that you could say, and it's the biggest question, is why? Why should I enroll in this workshop on August 8th here at Revival?
Absolutely. So, why, for any woman of any background, understanding that this is beginner friendly material, that even if you do have martial arts experience, you also are able to learn a really strong foundation for safety. That why is developing that mindset that you are deserving to feel safe at any time in your life. And when you think about all the overwhelming things in this world, what do you have choice and control over? And that's how we are able to respond. So this is giving you those skill sets to feel more prepared in your everyday life.
So there you have it, Lily Beyer from Garden of Serpents. She will be teaching a women's self-defense workshop here at Revival Boxing Fitness and Wellness, August 8th, mark it down, 10:30 a.m.
Yes.
to noon. So it's a 90-minute workshop, and we are now working with Lily to actually work on a 4-week process that.
Yes, absolutely. With an extension of this beginner curriculum, there's always opportunity to really refine these details and learn more within the physical skill set.
Very good. So you have an opportunity. Enroll now. I believe you can go to the website and register. Again, it's for all ages.
Yes.
What age do you recommend?
For all ages, for younger adolescent girls, I would say 10 and up, but we're always happy to make an exception. The content is beginner friendly. It's also age appropriate. So we use very neutral language around everything to make sure that anyone of any background can get something out of it.
Very good. Thank you very much, Lily.
Thank you,
Glad to
Jeff.
have you.
Thank you.